What do you guys give me if I kill that bird? Marvin, that's a bald eagle. Get away, Baldy! Yeah!
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Everything's a little loud to me today, but this is The Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GubsRadio.com. Thanks, everyone, for joining us this evening. Tonight, we have a special show for you. We have Gabe from Oyster Bay Brewing Company right here in freaking Oyster Bay. Woo! Well, you can't hear him yet, but there you go. So thanks a lot for everyone for joining us. Really appreciate you guys stopping by and saying hello, and I'm going to turn down the music just a little more so I can be heard. We're going to kick it off right away with our sponsors this evening. Steven, take it away for me, please.
All right. One of our main sponsors is Rosie's Draft Solutions. Rosie's Draft Solutions is a Long Island family-owned business. It provides professional draft beer system services, line cleanings and maintenance, draft beer line system installs, event dispensing solutions, and much more. They are very passionate about craft beer and making sure it has the same quality as when it left the brewery, which we all know means one thing: got to keep those lines really clean. Rosie's services bars, restaurants, halls, events, and all other beverage establishments, including home kegerator system installs and maintenance. Some of the places that they take care of: WA Meadworks, our boy Joey.
Yep.
Blue Point Brewing, Darling Brewing, 1940s, Hopwinds, Mauritius Field Brewing, and of course our buddies down over at Hopscotch Bottle Shop.
Hopscotch?
Just to name a few. Hopscotch. You can reach Rosie's, or I should say you can reach Nick, one of the owners, at rosiesdraftsolutions@gmail.com, or call him 631-219-2075, Monday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Mention Wort, get a little special promo.
Ooh, a little 10% off your service or hardware needs. Again, rosiesdraftsolutions.com. And we have a brand spanking new sponsor to the show starting tonight. Super excited for this. We had our doubts, but wow, we are already blown away by the quality of what was brought to us. Peter, I want you to tell the audience what we are now being sponsored by.
Jesus Christ.
Beer Maker. Beer Maker, the countertop brewing system, lets you brew about a gallon of your own beer right in your kitchen. I was really hooked by the fact that all the internals are dishwasher safe, which means I'm too domesticated. But brew your own beer on your counter. They'll ship you ingredients with your specialty grains, not extract. It's full grain brewing.
Yep.
You'll get your steam hops, and they have Galaxy, Motica. What else did we get in that IPA mix, Mike?
Amarillo, Citra.
Amarillo, all different stuff. And they have kits to purchase to use their predefined recipes, or you can go out and buy your own grains, your own hops, and your own adjuncts, and brew your own recipe right on your countertop. You want to make a copycat? You want to bring back yada yada yada? Go right ahead. You want to make an imitation barn rocker?
Yeah.
Go ahead and try.
Yeah.
I'm sure it won't be as good as the originals.
Dare you?
But you can do it in your own house. Really excited about this.
Also,
we're going to be testing it out. We got a sample pack.
Yep.
With our own kit, and we'll have them on the show pretty soon to talk about it.
I like the idea that you don't have to bottle it or do anything. It actually has its own dispensing system that you put in your refrigerator, almost like back in the day when they had the beer pigs, and tap beer right in your refrigerator without having to do any transfers or
no
anything.
transfer, which means no risk of oxidation or contamination.
Boy, don't
as
we know what that
are
does.
Almost all too familiar with. So it's a self-contained system. You can go online on YouTube. They have a YouTube channel with a lot of really great videos that walk you through the process.
How they spell it?
Right into this BERMKR.
Yes.
Beer
exactly.
Maker. Just find them out. They're on Instagram. They're on YouTube. Videos are really informative, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm really excited about it.
Yep, and we're gonna have a show with them coming up in April, where we're gonna do our own beer, and we'll have them on the show and talk about everything and the whole system. We may have a giveaway as well of one of these systems in our little agreement that we have with them, as well as potentially a promo code coming out. So stay tuned for that in future episodes. As we get that information, we'll share it with you. But this is so new. This just happened over the weekend. We're very excited, and we're going to get going as soon as possible. A few other sponsors for this evening. I'll say we are also sponsored by Brewbag, your beer pong cornhole for your backyard games, #yard games. And if, of course, you type into the promo code the Wort, or WORT, you will receive a percentage off your order, or you can go to our Instagram, go to Linktree, and follow directly to our discounted price site. So check out Brewbag. Go to brewbag.com for your beer pong cornhole today. We're also sponsored by VintageBeerShirtClub.com. Thank you, Vintage Beer Shirt Club. A lot of comms. And of course, I know. I was staying with them forever, and then I started delegating the work to you guys because I was tired of doing every single one of them. But go to VintageBeerShirtClub.com and go ahead and type in promo code WART. Receive a percentage off your order for your awesome vintage beer company shirts. They're really very, very cool. So check them out, VintageBeerShirtClub.com. Of course, shout outs to Hartwell Woodshop out in Patchogue, TapHandles.com, and our buddy, our friend from Brewers Hardware, sending us all the stuff that they send us every year. Thank you very much. And brewershardware.com for all your small capacity or large capacity needs. You want a tri-clamp? He's got plenty of those tri-clamps. Get all the tri-clamps you want. Go to brewershardware.com. And tonight, we are privileged to have Gabe from Oyster Bay Brewing Company. Gabe, how are you tonight, buddy?
I'm doing well, guys. Thank you.
Well, just so you know, and just so everyone at home knows, especially when they're watching it live and not in podcast form, we are also monitoring the Islander game because, of course, we're drinking Islanders Barn Rocker here tonight, starting with that. Then they just tied it up, so it's 1-1. Let's go, Isles. Yes.
I'm trying to be a good guest here. I don't have the game on, and I might be crucified for that later. So if you guys can give me
yes, I'll give you updates.
Update, I'd appreciate it.
I could give you the play-by-play.
Yeah, no, I was never trained to do play-by-play. I was always trained to do like analytic work afterwards. I did Hofstra Radio, so I did some of the we didn't have the Islanders contract back then, but we did the local, college collegiate games and stuff like that. And I would give like the 1 minute update of the weekend kind of thing, and it was really quick. Hey, we go to do Hofstra 87 point. So I'm good at doing that part, but to doing play-by-play, no, it's too much, too fast. What's his name? Chris Carlin's got a voice that just is amazing.
It really gets you excited.
Oh, dude. I mean, like I'm in my car going, yes. It does a great job. But
I would just want to know between you guys, who's the color commentary?
I'm going to have to go with Pete.
Probably.
Pete's got the colorful mouth.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I'm not touching that. I am not touching
No. He does. He's a very naughty boy with a lot of naughty words.
Leave that where it was.
Did you curse at the opening here? Did you curse during Beer Maker?
Entirely possible.
Yeah, I didn't even catch it, but usually Pete would be the first one to drop an F-bomb, and there's no problem with it. I'm just saying Pete will fuckity fuck all day long. And
this is true.
That's why I'll call him the
He got a fucking purdy mouth. I mean, he's got a colorful mouth.
A very colorful mouth he does.
Just to give some insight into the Cavano household, Evelyn, our adorable little 5-year-old girl, recently asked my wife if shit was a bad word.
Oh.
Because she hears the word shit so often, she had to seek confirmation whether or not it was a bad word.
Well, it happens. When shit goes down, you're gonna have to say the word shit. I would qualify Steve as our technical advisor So when it comes to, real brewing, let's say terminology and
What did you
style.
call me? The Tony Romo of
Yeah, I did. And Tony Romo's still color commentary now. I'm thinking about it. Like he's the color commentary to Monday Night Football on, what is it? Is it on Channel 4 usually or whatever it is? Whatever contract he has with whatever network. But yeah, because you were going through something the other week and we were very impressed. We're like, wow, that was really well put together sentences using good language, great terminology. It was amazing. And I call myself the air traffic controller. That's I throw the questions out and let it simmer. And then when I feel like it's time to move on, I'm throwing out the next question ready to go. So I'm just telling where the plane's to land. Yeah, keep moving.
I'm going to interrupt that traffic control period for a second. So right after doing that promo, I signed up for an account for Beer Maker.
Yeah.
Downloaded the App Store. There's way more available through the app than on their website. So ton of different specialty grains you can buy if you want to make your own recipe. Hops, shit ton of different yeasts available. I'm sorry,
excited.
I'm nerding out of here.
Well, there you go. Go to the app then. Go to the Beer Maker app.
Go to the Beer Maker app.
Android or iPhone.
Android or iOS. 100 grams of Munich malt. $1.
Well, how much Munich?
200 grams. $2.
Well, we got to look at, what the actual percentages that go into it.
You guys start getting your shit from these guys.
I know. It sounds like a great deal.
If you're not buying by the gram,
maybe
you're doing way too much drugs.
By
the gram.
Yeah. Gabe, thanks a lot for coming on. We had a great time with you up at the brewery this past weekend. Appreciate the hospitality. You actually took our new promo shot, so I appreciate that. I had to do a little photoshopping, which ended up working out fine.
Yeah.
No, but that was fine because the lighting, it looked cool though. Like it looks like a music video. You know how they have like those glowing lights behind, but then there was a couple of out of focus points. So I was just trying to, and it's hard with portrait mode on a phone to get them all, especially the depth that we were at. But I did a little finagling and I think it came out pretty good. My wife said that Pete looks fine. Steven looks good. And then you look like an idiot. And I said, thanks. So, I photoshopped the best picture I had out of all those into my face on that one picture. Because the two of you
I
look
would have
great.
gotten the same.
Yeah, probably.
The same feedback. Yeah, Mike and Steve look fine. What the fuck's the matter? Why aren't you smiling? That would have been the feedback I got.
No,
Why do you look like a murderer?
Why do you look like you're killing the family later?
I said to the boys, Gabe, after we go home, I said the pictures look like we're in an emo band from like the early 2000s. Just a cover shot of an album.
Totally.
It reminded me of that South Park episode when they do the Yep. And like, no, you have to do the album cover. It looks like you're staring off in the distance.
Well, Steve has that like deadpan look, just like, don't mess with me, It's good.
It was great. We had a fun time. Saw a lot. Got all that information. We're going to try to bring that out today. We're going to obviously just start at the very beginning. You and your partner, Ryan, went through a very arduous process to where you are today. Why don't you bring everyone back to where this all started? Give us the little journey through to about around where we're at now.
Sure. So we started the brewery back late 2012. Ryan, really, best friend of mine, always wanted to do a business together. And we started homebrewing separately, at each other's houses. And then as most brewers started getting together and doing it together for an excuse to drink and hang out and of course make beer, right?
That's what we're going to be doing with the Beer Maker. I'll tell you that. Oh, we have to go make beer. Why are you leaving with a case? Don't worry about it. We're going to make a case, but we're going to replace that case with this case.
So, we had a lot of fun with it. And at the time, it was still early on in the days of craft breweries on the island. And we really got hooked pretty quickly and wanted to start our own brewery. Obviously, like a lot of people want to do. It seems like a lot of fun. So we found this really small storefront in Oyster Bay, which is kind of directly in between Ryan and myself where we live. And started the brewery relatively quickly after we were messing around in our backyards. We spent, 2 years in the original space, about 1,400 square feet on a 3-barrel system.
Oh, okay.
Making some pretty basic, we did an amber, an IPA, a wheat, some pretty basic beers at the time. But I'd say what helped us, kind of go from smaller scale brewing to slightly larger scale brewing is we had the opportunity to pitch our beers to the New York Islanders at the Nassau Coliseum. So we got connected with the F&B people at the Coliseum and went to actually sell them pumpkin beer. Yeah. And in mid-conversation, I threw out there like, hey, this is the last year at the Coliseum. Like, would you guys be cool if we made like a commemorative beer for the team? Like we would love to do that. Not thinking anybody would ever say yes to that. Right. And we got the old, like, I don't know, let's talk to our marketing team and see what they think about it. And pretty quickly they came back and they were like, we love the idea. Let's do it.
Cool.
So
sometimes it doesn't hurt to ask, right?
Right, I guess.
Yeah. They can always say no. And what's the worst? Just no.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, fine. And we'll make it anyway. We just won't use your logo.
That's exactly right. So they came up with the name, and I always make sure to say that because we were not the creators of it originally.
Okay.
And there were a whole number of different names that were thrown out there, but ultimately Barn Rocker is what we all agreed upon.
What was the other names? What were some of the other options?
Oh, there were, I'll just give a couple of the easy ones. There was Dynasty.
Okay.
Obviously talking about the team in the 80s.
Yeah, but that's tough to have it come out now, but I guess because they're leaving the Coliseum. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, there was one, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it referenced the Lighthouse Project, which we shot down pretty quickly because that didn't come to fruition.
It wasn't Gordon's Fisherman's Ale, was it?
There was one of those as well that also got shot down pretty quickly, given how popular the jersey was at the time. And anyway, so we ended up with Barn Rocker. And, what was a lot of fun in our original space making Barn Rocker is that Ryan and I were still working full-time jobs, working for BMW.
One sec. Hey, Mike, for whatever reason, a couple of people saying your feed is not coming through audio.
Mine?
Yes.
Oh.
And I actually just went back just to take a quick look on the feed, and I can't hear you.
Son of a bitch. All right, hold on. I will fix that right now. Keep it going. Hello.
So you're saying you guys thinking about your regular jobs, right?
Yeah, so we were working still full-time jobs, and we had no business making beer for a sports venue. I mean, no business. Like the amount of beer that they would go through, even with a few tap lines, we had no business on a 3-barrel system trying to produce product for them. So we would show up at the brewery before work. We would show up at the brewery after work, sometimes during work, to do everything that we could do to get as much product out there as possible. We were delivering kegs in our trunk, driving under the Coliseum, just trying to keep it stocked with product, as best we could. And
wait, there we go. I got it. Sorry, I had to fix this. Yeah, there was definitely something dropped out, Steve. Maybe when I was trying to help you with your audio, I screwed something up on my end.
Yep.
But that means then no entrance music came through or all the promos from me. But we do have the Zoom recording, and it will be back out in podcast form. So sorry, everybody, for me not being on. But you know what? Probably wasn't the worst thing for you. Probably got more out of it from Steve and Pete this week.
I think it improved the show.
Oh, that's a dick move. Dick move. Come on.
Wow. Tough crowd.
This is what I get. This is what I get for trying to air traffic control. They just shut me down. Take the radar off the tower, huh? Sorry. So go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a lot of fun delivering beer, as I said, in our cars to the basement of the Coliseum, literally doing everything we could be doing to keep things in stock as best as possible. But I'd say that beer and that opportunity is what got us in front of, I would say more mainstream consumers as opposed to, sort of our neighborhood tap room.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then shortly after that, we were just at a point where we could not put any more time into continuously brewing to support the product, that we had to, expand the brewery, get a new space, get a new brew house. And that was late 2015.
Okay.
And, we've been in our, as I call it, our new space for the last 5 going on 6 years. It's been a wild, fun, crazy ride, to say the least. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you've done so much since you moved out of that space. The new space was something of a much larger in capacity, much larger in square footage. Did any of those 3-barrel systems come over with you as like pilot barrels? What were you doing with those? Did you get rid of those? Just buy all brand new equipment? What was that transfer like?
Yeah, I mean, we bought all brand new equipment. I wish, looking back, we had kept it. We didn't have the foresight, I guess, to think that we would need it or want it. But we wound up selling it to a brewery that was starting up in North Carolina.
Oh,
cool.
They were doing, a brewery wedding venue of some kind, and it was going to be on a farm, and that fit their business model. And so they came in a pickup truck or a box truck, whatever it was, and threw it in there as a box truck, actually. Threw it in there and took it. So yeah.
Oh, poor system. Has a better home though. It's like
It does.
adopting a puppy. The greener
does.
pastures, literally.
Now, at any point, did you guys, and I wasn't sure if you guys were doing it or not, did you guys contract any of the barn rocker out? Because, I mean, you guys, everybody, and it's funny, I have so many Islander fans, and that's what they drank when they were going to the friggin' game. They were drinking barn rocker, man.
We did not contract any of it. I'll say, unfortunately, a lot of other beer that we made or wanted to make suffered. So we just wound up making less styles. And there were plenty of times that in the tap room, we'd have 2 or 3 beers on tap because, most of the production was for, that's right. We always had a barn rocker. So no, we did not contract it, and we don't contract it today.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good. All in house. But you do contract for other people along the way. What are some of the names out there that you guys have worked with to help them out and get them going for the larger capacity outputs?
I'm proud to say that we made a couple beers for Dan and the crew at Long Beach while they were getting set up and started. We did a batch or 2. I don't know exactly how many for Bellport while Brian was getting started. We've done a couple for Old Tappan in Bayville.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think who else we've done. I mean, those are the ones that certainly, right off the top of my head, I can rattle off. It's not, part of our business plan, but, when we have, capacity or free space, we're happy to do it. The tanks are there,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those, you have enough capacity that you could, lend one out for a rotation or 2.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's the, and this is usually Steve's question because, Steve's the trucker. What you hauling? What are you guys working with now? What's the current setup at the brewery?
It is a 15-barrel brew house. And we've got, let's see.
By the way, Gabe, what type of, system do you have? Wait.
wait.
Never mind.
You really want me to show you under the hood, huh?
Wow.
Anyway, it's 15-barrel brew house. We've got 3, let me just make sure, 3 30-barrel fermenters, 4 15s, and then a little shorter on the bright side, just 2 15-barrel brights and a 30-barrel bright.
Okay.
We do all our packaging in-house, so we got a Wild Goose 4-head, 250 canning line that we've had for, I don't know, 5 years or so, 4 years. That's what we're working with.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a little tight in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
When you first got in, you're like, man, that's so much space. And now, oh shit.
We added those 2 30-barrel tanks on the end. I don't know, last year or maybe 18 months ago. So we wound up pushing out into the tasting room a little further from the production side, and then. I'm sure, like a lot of businesses have had to pivot, during COVID, a lot of our business is canned and to go now. And so the tasting room has really become our storage facility for empty cans and grain and empty kegs and, everything else.
I mean, you only took up the space where the shuffleboard was and
That's right.
the immediate hallway from front door to bathroom. So other than that, people can still come in. Plenty of tables available. Trust me. So we were in there on Sunday and you had a really good crowd. You had a bunch of tables outside. You have some tables out back, and then you have, I think, 9 or 10 4-tops or a little more. Maybe there's a 6-top in there in the tasting room. Then you can do both ends of the bar too, because they're kind of away from each other. And you guys was hard to find a seat right away, which is nice. It's good to see. So you were saying, during COVID times, things have been pivoting, but how has that worked with the tasting room? Have you seen more people coming in, or have you seen a lot more to-go can sales? What's been the model that's worked for you?
Yeah, I mean, to-go sales and can sales definitely accelerated over the last year or so. So we began offering local home delivery as New York State allowed us to do that. So,
nice.
drive around delivering beer to people's houses. Obviously, the distributors are taking canned product, and people are ordering on our website and coming in for curbside pickup or pickup at the bar. Tasting room is operating at 50% capacity, so we do as much as we can to drive as much traffic there, but we also realize that pretty quickly that fills up, and that's why we've spilled out in the front sidewalk in the back. And luckily, the town's been great about allowing us to have that seating out there.
Cool. And we were talking a lot about the town while we were up there. I've been coming up there for years now, even a little bit before you guys were established in there. And there was some great places to go, very nice places to eat, great walking town in the spring, summer, and fall. Oyster Fest, of course, everyone on Long Island knows that. Obviously, I would say the benefit of starting the brewery in Oyster Bay and you living in Oyster Bay, it all just makes sense. But was there anything outside of that would kind of make it just the right fit? Obviously, the town cooperating. But how is like the things like the business end of that? Is it a matter? Is it a high tax bracket? I would imagine Oyster Bay is high in taxes, sewers, water supply, all that stuff. What hurdles did you have to go through?
Yeah, hopefully the town's not listening on this one.
I did tag the Oyster Bay Chamber of Commerce.
I think for us, again, when we started, it was somewhat, new and novel. And so I don't think as many restrictions as there are now were around, sewers and all the things that a lot of the breweries have to go up against today. They were still, I think, defining a lot of the things that you had to do.
It was early on.
So, it's gotten more difficult over the years with submitting water reports and waste reports and stuff like that. But I think because we were able to get in early enough, it's been easier than if we were starting it today.
Right.
The town's been very supportive with, when we have, building plans to put through or things that we need to do. I just think we've been good neighbors and they've been good neighbors, and we're cognizant to, support initiatives from the town. And I feel like they help us when we ask them. And so I think it's a good working relationship.
Yeah.
I remember when you guys first got into the new place, and I probably stopped in. I mean, you guys were just trying to get everything together. And I remember you had to move the tanks at the beginning because the footing wasn't strong enough for the weight. And you were like, are you fucking kidding me?
Wait, do you have a basement or are you on a slab?
We do. No, we have a full basement. This was God, I can't believe I forgot to mention that. That was
I remember because I was just like, what?
That was a really special day. Special in quotes. That was a really special day. So, you can imagine we're getting a 40-foot tractor trailer delivering our tanks. And it happened to be like drizzling or raining that day. So already we're in, not the best mood.
Wait. So I did not see a garage door or anything. How did those tanks enter the brewery? Now I'm thinking about it. Through the double front doors?
Yeah. So those doors came off. And then a Sawzall went to the rest of the top of the door in order to get the tanks in. And so that process took all day to get them off the trailer, shimmied down onto floor jacks and whatever, and like pallet jacks and wheeled in, right? So that all day we get them all stood up, all in there, and we're all happy. And at the end of the day, we get the town coming in, like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, well, we got our tanks, like we're bringing them in, and we get this like, stop. You can't bring anything in here. Your building permit's not finished. The floor hasn't been pressure tested, like whatever all the things were. And we're like, and I think the mash tun and the kettle were still sitting like in the truck.
Oh, no.
We hadn't gotten everything out there. So, I mean, literally they were like, you guys have to stop. And luckily they didn't make us take everything out. So anyway, we had to stop, get the front boarded back up because we had cut the whole thing apart. And we had to store the tanks for a couple days at like a buddy's yard on a flatbed truck. Yeah. Until we could get the the floor sorted out with an engineer and things. But anyway, long story short, we are happily in there today.
And you passed all those tests, right? The pressure test passed and everything.
Yeah.
I thought maybe even
what's
the worst
cool
thing,
is it's like, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say even the worst thing could have happened where you do all that and then you find out the floor is not rated to carry that much weight. And that would have
Yeah.
been.
If you go in our basement, it's like a forest. There are like 6x6 timbers under each foot of every tank. So the floor is rated, the timbers are rated. There's plenty of support there, but man, what a day! What a process!
and that's the thing people don't really get when they see a brewery open up. They're like, oh yeah, is that trial and tribulations that go. You hear, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna open up. Yeah, we get the tanks, and this is awesome. No, you're not doing it, and it just rips your soul out for that moment too.
Man, I tell you, after that happened, Ryan and I went to Tabby's, the burger shop, next door, and I think we both ordered like chicken fingers and fries and sulked for like an hour about how great a day it was and how low of a moment it was also.
Jesus Christ.
Terrible.
Speaking of Tabby's, you guys were also known for being right next door to Canterbury Ales, one of the staples of Oyster Bay. And we were talking to how, unfortunately, they have closed up shop because of COVID. And there's a number of places in around the town and even across Long Island in the country, really, that have closed up. Is that like a really big hit to the foot traffic in town? Do you think that's really going to cause big ripples throughout the town?
Yeah, I mean, being right next door to Canterbury's, we got plenty of people that would come in our place looking, hey, is this, do you guys have a reservation? What are you looking for at Canterbury's? That restaurant had been there for, I don't know, almost 40 years, maybe 35 years. And it was a destination, as you said. So, yeah. I hope it doesn't affect traffic. We won't know because, they closed during COVID. Somebody did buy, Canterbury's, and they're going to reopen as what, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it was sad to lose them. They were a great neighbor, great beer selection, great spirit selection, good food. I mean, they had so many Long Island breweries on tap there, and there was always so much good beer. It was just nice to have them next door. I mean, we certainly played off each other, which was nice.
Yeah, I'd imagine just having a brewery next door. If you're waiting for a table, they scoot into the brewery and have a few pints and
totally
head over to and vice versa. You have a nice meal and then go next door and enjoy the rest of the night.
Yep. Yeah, it was great.
I'm sure you're going to see more restaurants pop up when things start getting better. People are going to want to go out. The influx of necessity to leave the house and eat and enjoy the things we've been deprived of for almost a year now. That I think is going to explode the industry back, hopefully to close to normal. But I think that the town of Oyster Bay itself will probably not have that much difficulty kind of rebounding just because you have a well-established, corner of the area. Nice, we were talking about the waterfront, love the waterfront. Oyster Fest is a huge thing. So people get up, see the town and go, oh, we got to come back here when it's not Oyster Fest, enjoy walking around. It's just good advertisement for the town itself. And we were also talking about the car show that happens on Main Street. Do you remember when that kind of started and how that has played into, the popularity of the brewery?
I don't remember when it started. It's been going on a long time. And I think it was probably, less organized in the past where people would just show up on Tuesday nights and show their cars. Now there's an admission fee if you want to show your car. They close the whole street. Pre-COVID gets a great crowd of families, and it was really awesome. And I hope we're able to do it again this summer. Yeah. Because they get some really cool cars down there, and it's just a great thing to do on Tuesday nights. And we love it. It brings people into the brewery, and it's kind of cool thing to show off the town also.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you see, in the newspaper, or you'll see it on social media, it going on, and you instantly are seeing the cars that are there. You're seeing the fun people having, and again, a great little destination place for Long Islanders. It's one of those, again, another staple of Long Island to go up to the Oyster Bay Car Show. So I'd imagine once that kind of returns along with the rest of the town, things will start to kind of rebound and get a little better.
Yeah, we hope so.
Gabe, I want to kind of transition over to, what's going on right now. I know we talked a little bit about Barn Rocker and the stuff that's happening with the Islanders. I know we spoke at the brewery the other day about what's going to happen moving forward when the Islanders finally get into Belmont. I passed it Thursday or Friday, and went, wow, it's really coming together. Like, it's getting close to being done, at least on the exterior. It's getting exciting because I'm really interested to see what it's going to turn out to be. But what was really hoping is that Barn Rocker will still become a part of that venue have you guys spoken to anybody about that and how it's going to make the transition from the Coliseum over to Belmont?
We have. I mean, we've been discussing that with the team for, I'd say, the last year or so.
Wow.
Ultimately what that might look like. And I think, for us, there's two different partnerships. There's obviously, like with the can and the, on your desk there, your desk, kind of your bar, your counter, whatever.
I have a tap, Gabe. I have a tap, and I have another portable tap. Take a tap with you.
One of the things is our ability to use their intellectual property, the logo, and all and all the marks. And so that's up for discussion. And then the other part is the ability to have our product poured in the venue, which that happens more between us and Manhattan Beer, who's our distributor.
Okay.
Manhattan represents a bunch of big brands. And so they get allotted X amount of tap lines in the arena and X amount of shelf space in the fridges and all other things. And, they'll carve something out for us. Whether or not that's small or big remains to be seen. But my shameless plug here is the more Barn Rocker that we all can drink over the next few months gets us more shelf space and tap lines at the new arena.
There you go.
Now you're talking. And that's the thing. Like I was telling you, one of my traditions for going to an Islanders game was to have some Barn Rocker at the Coliseum, seek out the couple of little carts that had it. And that was my place. Even if it was, 10 sections away, I'm walking around and getting 2 Barn Rockers and going right back to my seat, ready to go. I'd pregame in the parking lot. I'd postgame in the parking lot. But in between, it was always Barn Rocker. I always associate the flavor and the taste and the essence of it with the Coliseum and being there. Even after they redid it, you still had taps there. Like even when the Islanders weren't playing there, I went for the beer fest. Actually, I went to a beer fest one year, and on the way out, they gave us tickets to a boxing match. I guess it was a Showtime boxing match, and the 6 of us literally walked right up the stairs and right back into the Coliseum. And immediately I said, well, now I got to find Barn Rocker because they weren't at the beer fest, so I have to go now, enjoy it. Because what else am I going to do in the Coliseum? That's what I associate it with. It's like muscle memory. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping, I think the Coliseum's reopening, I don't know, next week or maybe 10 days from now, roughly, and they're allowing 10% fans back in for games. And so we're, really hoping that at least we get exposed to just even that small amount as well, because that would certainly help things out.
Oh, who is this?
Who's that?
Who's this guy?
Boy.
Oh,
Number
no.
1.
We have surprise for you, Gabe, number 1.
Dan Scan.
This is
Dan's
great.
here. He's connected to his audio.
Yeah,
I thought we were mentioning some of the contracts. That's kind of why I wrote a little bit something there. And I said to Dan, I reached out to him. I said, listen, we got Gabe coming on. Why don't you swing on by and say hello?
I just needed to say hello, man. How you doing?
What's up? Good, man. How are you?
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan from Long Beach Brewing Company.
Hey, guys. How you all doing?
Good.
How you holding up? How you holding up?
Barely.
Yeah. Well, if you go back to did you end our season season 3? I think you were the last show of the season last year. Might have been.
Maybe. I can't remember. I drank a lot that night.
Yes. I think we promised things that I still will probably stand by. But if you ever need, a hand picketing at town hall down in Oceanside, oh, here it comes, creeping in. If you ever need anything, you let us know. We'll bring.
I know, guys, and we appreciate you guys tremendously, man.
A megaphone, and we'll bring Pete and Steve, and they don't need a megaphone. And then we'll make sure they know. Leave Long Beach
Loud,
Company
foul
alone.
language.
Colorful. It's colorful language, Peter.
Colorful.
Dan, tell us a little bit about
what's going on?
I was going to say, tell us a little bit about the experience you had with Gabe and contract brewing up at Oyster Bay.
Well, man, those guys are great to us, man. They, if it wasn't for them, we never would have gotten our first beer out into the market. Basically it was through Instagram, if you will. We got contacted by the guys. They offered to help us out, and we were like, awesome. Like, yeah. And it got us started, man. We sold our first beer April 17th, 2018 because of those guys.
There you go. Which one did you brew?
We did Ghost Wave at their place.
You did? Nice. And that first iteration was really good. And you guys have really done a great job on little tweaks here and there with your system. And
you.
I mean, if anyone hasn't tried Ghost Wave from Long Beach, get to your local distributor if you don't live too close and find Ghost Wave and demand it to be on the shelves because it is extremely good. And if there's something I really like about IPAs, it's that maltiness that you provide on that Ghost Wave. We love that part of it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we just canned up a fresh run the other day. It's
Nice.
It's got another new little tweak in it, and it's probably the best version we've put out yet. And I'm really proud of it.
Awesome.
Excited. And again, if it wasn't for Oyster Bay Brewing Company, man, you guys really, really, really set the bar for us and showed us, what to do. And we followed what you guys did, man, and taught us. And we appreciate it.
So
You guys
Hey, man, anytime.
opened a lot of doors for us, and we appreciate you for that.
Anytime, Dan.
So when are you doing the next beer for the Islanders, or are you doing it for the Mets? I mean, you're following in their footsteps. You gotta do something. Knicks,
Maybe the
Nets,
Jets?
somebody. You gotta.
Oh, don't do the
listen.
Jets. Jets are worse than the
Long
Mets.
Island Ducks.
You'll never sell any beer. Because nobody goes to the stadium.
You can have
It would
a,
just be a brown. It would just be a brown bag.
Nice.
oh boy. And I got Pedro over here. He's giving me the eyes already. He's already saying, what are you guys talking about here? I'm the best. I got Scott from Long Island saying, what's up? He loves him some Ghost Wave. So he says Ghost Wave is the balls. Actually, it's
Thank you.
Drive over to Some Guy's Beer and Soda, Sunrise
Yeah.
Highway in Lindenhurst.
Actually,
Always has Long Beach in stock.
Yeah, sure does.
Scott from Long Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scotty has actually moved on from Long Island.
Oh,
He has a new, I believe it's a sales manager's job with Cisco Food Company.
Oh, interesting.
look at him.
Big change from my boy Scotty.
How come we didn't know? When the hell did this happen?
Yeah, Scott, you're listening in, bro. I wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Cheers.
You've
Yeah,
been
man.
a great guy in the beer industry. I think you're going to do great things in the food industry now. So
He said,
best
thank you
of luck.
very much. He's giving a little thumbs up emojis all over the place. Cheers to you, buddy. He'll be back. He can't stay away for that long.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
Little hiatus.
Yeah, he'll be selling ingredients for beer maker soon enough.
Yeah.
He can collect all the hops from everywhere. Don't you know who I am? I'm Scott from Cisco. Now give me your Citra.
Dude from Cisco.
Now give me all your Amarillo. Dan, you guys, like I said, had a great run with them. You guys have tuned in your system now. What's on the horizon really quick in the last few months that we've spoken last?
We've been working a lot with Iron Horse Beverages.
Okay.
Okay.
They're doing a lot of distribution for us right now. Unfortunately, I can no longer just, we as a company can't no longer just keep doing it on our own with all the hats that we're wearing right now. We're all still working 2 jobs.
Yeah, and I go back to what Gabe was saying before. Everyone is working full time, and on top of it, becoming like a full time brewer. And we were having this discussion this past weekend how tough that is with family and free time and everything balancing act.
Absolutely.
It's tough, man.
There's a lot of work in a brew house. I've learned that real quick. There's always something to clean. Always.
Or always something breaking.
Yeah.
Shush. Shush. Actually, just had to fix a glycol leak today.
Oh. Do you have to weld it up, or was it a tri-clamp?
Glycol on the floor. I have no idea.
Pressure
So we had to
clamp?
fix that. It's always something.
Nothing. It's all clamps. Just buy a bunch of clamps.
Right, for Prez.
You got to get a part cart or cart. Part cart? I had it right. Part cart. And then, get all your tri-clamps. Scott, I'm sorry, Scott. Dan, what is because I just saw him again. What is your favorite brew from Oyster Bay? What's your go-to?
But you're really putting them on the spot.
Captain
I
Kid's
am.
been my Captain Kid.
That was a good. They didn't have that on tap. I was up there.
Man.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I think right before Ivan left was like my, was really. We had just done our last brew with you guys, and Ivan had was just about to move on, and they had just canned up a fresh run of it, and I remember just it being so freaking good, and I really like that beer a lot.
Gabe, anything on the schedule for Captain Kid to come back?
I I mean, we may have to add it to the schedule now that Dan's
Well,
talking so
now.
highly of it.
I really thought that was just a fantastically crafted IPA. I'm not an IPA drinker. I mean, not that I'm not. I just never really enjoyed them.
You're more of a Belgian and German style.
I like more German
right?
style. I'm more of lager. I like lagers, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
These crisp beers. That's what I enjoy drinking mostly. And that's been my biggest challenge as the brewer for the company is like, you know, honing in on making our IPAs more, I guess, appealing to
IPA-ish?
the IPA-ish clientele, if you will.
More beer-like.
More beer-like? I don't know. You know, so, you know.
Have you tried lactose?
No, not at all. Never.
How about OJ? Have you ever tried straight up orange
Yeah.
juice?
Just straight up orange juice. Yeah, well, you know, I did my first canning run. I said we did our first canning run of 3 IPAs in a row, and it was just like, wow, we just put 3 IPAs out on the same day. That was really, I guess.
He's shaking his head like, yeah, that's norm. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, for everyone else it's normal, but for me it's never been normal. So I'm just like, okay, doing a lot of IPAs right now.
Yeah.
When are you bringing the Schwartz beer back?
Not for a while.
Mm.
Not for a while, but we still have a little inventory left of it, so
All right.
it's still going to be out there for a little while.
Shipwrecked Black.
Yes. So
Yeah.
good.
I
Damn
think we
good
only
beer.
canned that up about a month and a half ago, so there's still.
Oh, so you
right.
still got some
There you
freshies
go.
out there. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're definitely, and they're lagers, so they'll stay nice.
They'll stick around for a bit. Yep.
Yeah,
Sweet.
that beer just gets nicer and nicer and nicer if it's kept cold.
What's very interesting, we've noticed, from talking a bunch of different breweries, and just the other day, I had to get out of the house, and I went on my first going out to breweries, which I haven't done since I closed my own brewery, and black lagers, man. I've seen dark lagers and black lagers like 4 or 5 times now from breweries around the island, and I love it. I love that.
I remember when we said we were putting ours out, everybody was like, "Don't do it, man! Don't do it. You're not going to sell any. You're not going to sell any." And I
Didn't
was
we
like,
all
"I
bring?
don't care. I want it. I'm
Yeah.
brewing it."
Didn't each one of us bring a different black lager, dark lager, or
Yes.
black lager?
Back from where we were. So Steve traveled around Long Island. I went up to upstate New York, and Pete went to Vermont over the February break. And we all came back right before we walked into Oyster Bay and did our little exchange from where we were. And I had a crowler of the black lager Schwartz beer from Whitman, who we had on the show last month. And
Nice.
Pete, you brought I forget which one it
Lost
was.
Nation,
Lost Nation.
Czech dark lager.
I had
Jack
that last
Lager.
night. Delicious.
Very good. I liked it.
And then Steve got one of the dark lagers from 27A, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it was nice. We all kind of did a nice little dark lager exchange, which was kind of cool. It was fun.
It was actually pretty funny. He was like, "Well, I got one for you." Well, I got one for you.
Hey, I guess we're all drinking dark lager anyway.
They're great, man. They go so well with so many different foods. It's just
Speaking
such
of
a
which,
great-
I paired my Lost Nation dark lager last night with a fresh box of Girl Scout tagalongs.
Hey, all right.
Ooh.
God, those are my favorite fucking.
Mhm. And so, Steve, this is my next one. It's Steve's collab with Garvey's Point, your peanut butter porter, that I will have my next few tagalongs with probably tomorrow night. Yes.
Nice.
It was one of those things. I love having the Girl Scout cookies with the dark beers in the wintertime, like right around now. Great
I think you
combination.
gave me another excuse to buy a box of tagalongs.
Bro, I just had like 3 boxes dropped off this past week.
Yeah,
from
Pete, when are
our-
yours coming in? Because Pete's
from our
daughter.
dealer.
They've both of them now. They're they're in stock. There's quite a
All
few.
right. Now we're talking.
Mm.
Excellent.
Ah, we're
More
okay.
coming my way.
There we go.
Gabe, have you ever brewed with like a cookie or a bagel or something, like some sort of food item? Something maybe you could buy from Scott from Cisco?
I mean, we have, yeah, we did a cookie, collaboration with this Instagram cookie company, My Cookie Dealer. So we did a
Oh God, those
uh,
things are insane.
a milk stout made with their chocolate chip cookies around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then in January, we did a collab with Blue Line Deli in Huntington and King's Coast Coffee.
Ooh.
So we put their Islander bagels in the mash, and then we did
look at you.
King's Coast Coffee's Lamplighter blend cold brew to finish it off. So we did coffee cream ale, which was fun.
Sweet.
That's pretty cool. Did it already came out, correct? Or is it still brewing?
It did. And it sold out pretty quickly. So there's another batch coming out in 10 days or so.
Nice. All right. So you got it in the tanks. Nice.
Yeah.
Scott heard our ribbings and said, "You bastards." Sorry, Scott. That is fair. Yeah, we are bastards. He knows that. He knows that well more than anybody.
Yes, he does.
I was so, you know what? I'm actually now just thinking back how sad I am about him leaving, because we were supposed to go down to AC Beer Fest last year, and they were going to be at the festival. So I was excited to hang out with him and Greg and Dan and Sheila and the whole crew from Long Island, and that got canceled. So when they rescheduled now for June 4th and 5th, I believe, I was expecting the whole crew to come back down. I don't know if the invites still are out there for people or what's going on. I think we're going to hear sometime around mid-March or so about what the brewery lineups are going to be and the music festival lineups going to be. But we are on the docket. We have our hotel Airbnbs punched. Now it's just a matter of making sure we all can get vaccinated in time and or just stay safe as we can. And the numbers are super low, and we'll have a great time down there.
I go Thursday to get my vaccine.
I go Sunday.
Wow.
That's because I'm a teacher and he works for, there you go. And so, sorry, but not that I'm looking forward to it, but I need something because I'm around children all day. And they're 17-year-old children, not the cleanest bunch of children. But I'm very lucky. I've been really lucky all year, been very clean. Everything's been great. You know, thank God for that. I want to turn that into a brewery question, because a lot of the breweries are having protocols, obviously face mask wearing when you're walking around. You can have it off at the table, hand sanitizer, stuff like that. Has that been like a really hard part of this whole thing, or is that the easiest part of it, Gabe?
Oh, that's a question with a lot of layers. It's been a challenge. I mean, following a process is not challenging, but people forget that you add people to that process, both brewery staff and then customers. And I would say for the most part, people are really good about adhering to the rules that we have to adhere to. They're not rules that we create.
Yeah.
But you guys know, just add alcohol, and every once in a while there are people that don't like to follow that, and that just becomes an issue. So, I mean, process-wise, not difficult for us to follow, but with anything else, it can be challenging at times.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because you're adult to adult. No one's over one another at that point. So it's kind of hard to listen, I mean, I'm sure everyone does that. They give the first warning, maybe even the second warning. After that's come on, I got to keep reminding you.
Yeah.
Try to be hospitable about it. And at the same time, be a little authoritarian, because you're not really trying to be the bad guy here, but you don't also give your business at risk at that point.
Yeah. And it's sure, I get that standing up in the same place without your mask is the same as you sitting down, but that's the rule.
Right.
I have to follow it, so anyway, as you said, it's challenging, but it's overall it's been fine.
Yeah. Now you said you work with, sorry, go ahead.
I was just thinking of people like that. I was at a restaurant Saturday night, and we're sitting down, where the wife and I are eating, and I look over and this guy's leaving with his family, no mask, and already got a cigarette in his mouth. He was the typical Joey Bag of Donuts,
hey,
what the fuck? Don't worry about it. Hey, I'm okay. I was like, just come on, bro.
Stacy, put the scotch in the plastic cup and let's go. We got to go. We got to go.
We got to go.
Come on, Stace.
Unreal. It's why I'm glad I don't have to deal with people like that, because I'd probably be in jail or something.
You're right. And the one thing it's hard to control is people. I know Gabe was saying that that's the wild card of the whole mix, is that you can have all these things and you can control you and your business and your staff. But the wild cards are walking in the door every single minute. You got to be on top of it. It's got to be daunting and just frustrating and annoying at the same time. You just want to run your business like it ran for years. And now all of a sudden it's ugh.
You're having a hard enough time already. Your keg sales are gone because everything is closed. Just trying to get by, and you got to bust balls. It's just like never makes any sense.
Yeah, it's it's not easy, but we'll get through it. It's just it's fun sometimes.
And like we said, when we were there Sunday, it was a nice crowd coming in. And it wasn't the greatest of days. It was sunny, but it was cold.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to see people wanting to go out and hang out for a little bit. Because I know I don't want to lose any of the breweries on Long Island. So I tell everybody, just fucking go out for a little bit. Yeah. Enjoy yourselves. Take some stuff to go home. So when it all opens up again, we could all have places to go.
Yeah, you want them to be there when you get when you're done.
Yep.
And I always say, like, you know what? If you don't want to go out, go on their website and buy a gift card, right? Or buy a T-shirt or buy a sweatshirt. If you don't want to visit them, just buy something from their website. Anything. It'll help.
Yeah, the gift card is good forever.
Buy their product.
Yeah.
Right.
Anything.
Yeah. A couple people checking in on Instagram. Our buddy over at West Babylon Superstar saying what's going on. Scott says you guys just want to make beer. People are dicks. Al Loves Beers checking in, and my buddy Tom Franz is saying there's jack wagons everywhere. That's a good one.
That's true.
That's a good one.
That's true. There are, yeah.
Oh, wait, is it time?
To start talking about beer?
I think it's time.
I don't have your jingle yet. For more jack wagons? You want to do I don't have the jingle ready yet. I got to get like people to make the jingle, like Steve asks his questions, 3 questions for Steve. And there
I didn't think we needed an original jingle until just now.
Well, now we do.
I'm on board with that. I think we do.
It's got to be like very like 1970s NBC jingle kind of thing. Snappy.
Definitely.
Quit.
I quit. Anyway, I quit.
Quit. Go ahead. You're on it. Let's ask these questions. And
all right, Gabe.
Can I make a recommendation before you ask them?
Sure.
Can you do it one at a time?
Okay.
All right. Just because
it does. You know what it is? It's the alcohol.
It is. You're right.
The first question. The other two are
because you're already thinking about question 1 and you didn't quite hear every bit of question 2 and 3 and part B.
Yeah. Okay. So there's going to be 3 questions, Gabe. But if you one at a time, you can answer them, and then we'll go along. Steve's questions for Gabe. Yeah. So Gabe, what was that beer back whenever that turned you on to craft beer? What was that one beer that you had? You said, what is something better than Miller and Bud and Coors? What was that gateway beer that got you into craft beer?
You are going to make me give the most cliche answer ever, and I'm so embarrassed to even say it. But I will say that someone shared a heady topper with me pretty early.
All right.
When you couldn't get it. I mean, now it's pretty easy to get.
I have a 4-pack coming this week.
I bought a 4-pack.
I was like, wow, that's very different.
Yeah.
So yes, I'll say that.
Heady. Okay.
That's a good one because mine was Magic.
We actually haven't gotten that answer yet.
No.
When you say cliche, I was like, oh God, did it? Sierra Nevada Pale Ale? Is that just everybody's answer?
Oh yeah, it was either that or I thought he was going to go with like, oh no, I had like Pete's Wicked or something like that.
Or
was always another one that. All right, so what is your go-to style? What is your favorite style to drink if you can?
So that's changed because I would say over the last 8 years, it's been an IPA. I've loved IPAs in all different types. I'd say over the last year or so, I have begun to stray away from those, and I find myself drinking really clean lagers and pilsners now.
Crispy boy.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the evolution of a lot of people.
Like me getting old. Yeah, it's probably me getting old or whatever it is, but I just I don't know. I really, really enjoy the style a lot more today than I did before.
Actually,
that was what I was excited yesterday that there was a rice lager on the board yesterday. That was
as I said, that is
as often as I'd like.
Immediate. That is what I get. At least one of those every time I'm up there because you can't find it. It is not everyone's doing a rice lager, so that's a delicious beer.
We do.
Yes, I know. I said it as I'm looking at you going, shit, I know he does one. Fuck.
I
Look
think
down.
Gabe, you're appreciating, you know what it takes to make a really good, crisp lager and how much goes into it. And you know, when you do drink and it's a really well made one, you're like, wow, there's nothing better than this. Is no adjuncts, there's no other off, you know, it's just that flavor of that malt, that, you know, there's a little bit of hops and that yeast, and that's about it.
Totally.
My third and final question.
Ooh.
What is your go-to beer now, other than any beer that you brew? What is a beer that you look forward to having other than your own?
So slightly off answer. I the last 2 years have been traveling a lot for work, and I find myself in airports all the time. And the easiest go-to beer that I can have in an airport all the time is Lagunitas. And so, I will say that when I'm sitting at an airport bar and I'm looking at the not that attractive tap tree, that is what I'll go to have.
Not attractive. I like that.
Yeah.
It's either, you know, it's usually either that or it's a Goose Island beer. Because
Yeah, I would say Goose, like the 316 was everywhere.
Yeah.
it's everywhere you look, there's a goose head somewhere. And, you know,
I was
in an
excited when Sophie started being available at first, and now you
God, I
can
love
pretty
that
much
beer.
find it anywhere now. It's everywhere. It used to be very rare, and now it's like, oh, I don't know about that. I got people checking on Instagram really quick. Tom Fran says Optical Illusion 2001. That was his first. Scott saying lagering is a brewery showing off its chops for real. Tough style to make consistently. Kudos to those that can do it well.
Yep.
So thanks, Scott. Still listening even after we made fun of him by accident or purpose. Appreciate you, Scott.
Sweetheart.
I'm sorry I made fun of you accidentally on purpose, Scott, but
Maybe soon it'll be the Wort with Mike, Pete, Steve, and Scott. Ooh, someone has a little bit more free time now that he's working for a big
There's a
old
guest
Cisco.
spot open whenever you want it, Scott.
That's
Hey, but
true.
the only
Anytime.
thing is we're going to talk about beer, and he's going to be like, so, you know, slab bacon nowadays.
Dude, if he comes on and starts talking about bacon, I'm here for that too.
We'll do a whole new podcast with Scott.
Yeah.
He said he's in. Dan, we asked these questions to you. Travel me back. What was the go-to you're at right now?
What's my go-to?
Yeah, right besides
Other
your
than
own.
our own?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard, man. It just depends on my mood, man. It really does. But it's usually something from Dogfish Head.
Okay. Yep. See,
You
I've
know?
been on that kick. I've been on my 60-minute kick. When
I really like the Slightly Mighty, I think it is.
Midas Touch. Oh no, Slightly Mighty. Yeah. No, I know it's a newer
It's
one.
their
Yeah.
light IPA, and I don't really like IPAs, and that's so good.
It's kind of like the Founders All Day. It's right around that area. Yeah, I do remember that one. I was drinking 60 minutes, drinking a 6-pack of 60 minutes for football season. And so it was like 1 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I would polish off that 6-pack. And
I had a 60-minute not too long ago, and I was just like, it's not as hoppy as I remember. And then I'm like, no, I'm just enjoying the hop flavor a lot more than I used to.
Yes, that's exactly it. You changed. I don't think that's changed all that much.
No, the
once
beer's
I get
the
into
same.
it,
I changed, exactly. I'm appreciating it a lot more now.
Yeah, I mean, just the consistency of what they can do.
Yes.
And that's something to be said for any brewer that produces these very easily fuck-upable beers with just a slight off bit, how consistent everything is. Gabe, when you guys are going through your recipes and you're doing this, are you thinking with consistency in mind as you're kind of going through the processes from one batch to the next?
Yeah, I mean, we are pretty deliberate about, if something is going to be a one-off that we're not planning on reproducing versus a beer that we're going to try and distribute. I mean, it has to be scalable. It has to be consistent, right? Like it's tough when you make a beer and there's a product that you can no longer get. Like if you're going to make a widely distributable beer with Galaxy hops, there's so much fluctuation in hop price and availability and stuff that you can't have that all of a sudden not available. So it's got to be somewhat repeatable and consistent from an ingredient side, and then of course process and all the other stuff that goes with it.
So when you went into like the recipe for Barn Rocker, obviously that's going to be a repeat based style and brew. Was in the development of that, was it saying, all right, we got to keep it, I don't want to say simple, like it's a simple beer, but simple enough that we can repeat this consistently over and over again?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we first made it, we were just trying to make a simple beer, quite honestly. An approachable craft beer that was not polarizing or overpowering or whatever it was. And there's been many iterations of Barn Rocker. We've always tried to improve it over the years. And I think Ivan last week was talking, over 10 or 12 batches, he made little tweaks to it. And, even Tom now has made a couple little tweaks to it. So we're always trying to make it as, as perfect for us as possible, while still not being different, where if you had it, you were like, oh my God, this tastes completely different than what this did last week or 2 weeks ago or a month ago.
Now, those changes made in ingredients or in process or in both?
Both, probably. Yeah. So I think for when Ivan was there, it was ingredients. Tom's made slight process changes around temperature and stuff like that. It just depends on the little things that we're trying to fix, whatever that might be, or alter or change, whatever word you want to use. Yeah.
And was it based upon the idea of trying to just be more efficient with it, timing issues, scheduling issues, stuff like that? Or was it just a consistent or a conscious effort to make it just taste a little different so it's right where I want it to be?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll have a Barn Rocker and I'll be like, God, there's just, I don't know, this one, there's just like this slight little bite at the end that I don't want, or I don't, like people shouldn't have that, or whatever it is. And so I use whatever words I can use to describe that to, the guys in the brewery, so that they can understand what I'm trying to say and translate that to process or ingredient or whatever it might be.
That makes sense. Yeah. It's got to be hard not to be able to print out something out of your brain going, well, here's exactly what I needed to be fixed. You got to
it's really hard.
Words. Yeah.
It's really hard because everybody uses different words to describe things. And so when somebody, one of our bartenders or one of our, if someone's like, oh, it's just a little too light. It's like, well, wait, what do you mean? Do you mean like, is it too light in color? Is it too light in body? Is it too light in, like, you have to be really descriptive about what you want to change. Otherwise, it can be misconstrued.
Yeah. Steve, what were we going to say?
So,
I meant to ask earlier, what is Oyster Bay's reach distribution wise? Where, besides New York, are you guys out in like Jersey or
just New York?
Nice. Just New York.
Just New York. Yeah. Yeah. We had a small date in Connecticut, I'd say for like a year and a half. We learned pretty quickly that without having real boots on the ground and support to really push the product,
like a sales team
we have here in New York, it's really tough to make a go at it, and so it didn't make sense for us at the time to continue that relationship. So we're just here in New York. It's Manhattan Beer distributes in 16 counties, and so we're somewhat represented in those.
No, good.
Are you shipping all New York State wide, or is it wherever? People can go online, buy the beer, and it'll ship from anywhere in New York.
Anywhere in New York. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And are distributors picking it up upstate, a little further up, or is anybody kind of bringing it up there and selling it for their shop?
Yeah, I mean, we've had certain people reach out. I don't think logistically for us it makes sense to try and ship a half a pallet or 20 cases or 50 cases. Like it becomes too cost prohibitive for them to then be able to make money and sell it. So we really try and focus on, what we can control kind of in our backyard with our distributor.
And with the shipping in New York, is that something you feel is going to stay and stick around for a while to come?
I hope so. I don't find that there's any reason to, to stop it. Although I don't know all the inner workings and whatever red tape's involved in all that stuff, but I can tell you it's nice that somebody in Albany or Buffalo can order a case or a 6-pack. And if they want to spend 20 or 25 bucks to ship it, let them do it. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the New York State Brewers Association is definitely lobbying to have that continue because it is a huge boost for the business, for the alcohol business. Oh, what?
Look
Who's that?
who's here. Gabe, special guest number 2 for you tonight.
Oh man.
We have Ivan from Meiere Brewing Company joining the show. Just on the show 2 weeks ago. Ivan's here. What up, buddy?
This is great.
What's going on? How you doing, Gabe?
Ivan, what's up, man? How's everything?
Outstanding. Yourself?
Yeah, can't complain. Good to
Thanks.
talk to you via Zoom and not via Instagram from last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's far nicer there than it is here because we only got 5 inches of snow.
It's a little nicer. Yeah, a little nicer.
Yeah.
And we also have Dan here. Ivan, Dan's in the Zoom chat if you don't see
Hey,
him.
what's up, Dan?
What's up there? What's going on there, Ivan?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right, man. I'm feeling good.
So, Ivan, you basically kind of spurred me to go out and reach out to people that previously were at Oyster Bay and have you guys drop in some contract people, some past employees and past
Like
people.
in Oyster Bay, this is your life.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, good.
This is like a high school reunion. This is
Yeah.
great.
I was going to go with Carousel of Progress, but that kind of doesn't work as well. I haven't drank enough to really say that correctly, so we'll get there. Ivan, man, how's it going the last 2 weeks? Good?
Yeah, just busy. Yeah,
I'd imagine.
just busy.
Double brew
So,
days?
yeah,
stuff going
everything's
on?
going very well. Where other than snow
Yeah.
every day.
And lots of
Yeah, and you
Every
guys
day.
got hit. I was up at Saratoga, and I didn't get too bad during that February break, but on the way home, man, did I hit the whiteout conditions, and that was traveling north as I was going back down south. It was crazy.
Yeah, it snowed sideways for most of the day today, and I mean, it's beautiful up here in a strange way. Like yesterday, we went for a walk on the lake, and it was beautiful and sunny and 28 degrees and was perfectly warm. But yeah,
all I can
you
think
get
in my
used to
head-
weird.
It's like
Huh?
Fargo.
Yeah.
You're not gonna put somebody in a wood chipper and spit them in the bushes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you get used to it.
So
Have you put anyone in a wood chipper, Ivan? Like,
Don't answer
like now
that.
that it's out there,
Don't
we
answer
should
that.
probably clear the air.
yeah, no,
Please don't
don't
answer
admit to
that.
anything on or off the air at that point.
There's
Yeah,
I
far
got-
better ways to get rid of bodies.
Good, good.
Oh, wait, what was that?
That's the correct answer.
Perfect answer. Yeah.
Ivan, I got Dan here, and I also wanted to have Dan on because you were part of that initial stages where Dan was coming up to brew Ghost Wave. So give me a little quick, and Gabe, obviously you're overseeing a lot of this and inner workings of what was going on with that relationship. You guys tell me a little bit about, obviously I know Dan said he kind of reached out on Instagram, but then from there, how does that contract start? Is it a matter of just getting together, developing the recipe? Did you do a small test batch? Did you just go right to large scale? How did that all work for the three of you guys?
I guess I'll spit. You guys came to us. I said, this is my recipe. I showed it to Ivan, told him this is what I wanted. He scaled it up for me. And we went from there and we just tweaked it as we went along.
So it's really that easy. Like just here it is on a napkin.
Pretty much.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. It would make it much easier on everybody if it was that easy.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
I felt that I was in very good hands by handing it over to Ivan. And I knew the experience that these guys had already been through. And I just felt confident like, hey, man, I'm giving you full reign. This is what I am looking for, and make it go. And
For the people watching on Instagram, this is the Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve. We are here with Gabe from Oyster Bay Brewing Company, and joining him, special guests, Dan from Long Beach Brewing Company and Ivan from Myers Creek Brewing Company. And these guys worked with Gabe in one way, shape, or form over the last, let's say, almost decade now. So we brought them on to be special guests to talk to Gabe a little bit. Ivan, when you were there, we were just talking about Barn Rocker and some of the iterations. What were some of the tweaks you had made to that? Because I want to start we're into the part of the show where we talk a little bit about the recipe and the process and all that. So maybe you can break it down for us really quick on kind of where you left off and then where Tom picked up, the current brewmaster over at Oyster Bay.
So Gabe and Ryan obviously invented that recipe from scratch as home brewers, and then built it up to, what was it, a 3-barrel system you had across the parking lot, Gabe?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. And then, they took that and handed it off to Mike, and Mike scaled it up to 15 barrels. And then from there, we just did some minor tweaks and a little bit of processing differences. And I don't know what's happened to that recipe since I've been gone, but, it was in a good spot when I left. And, we had finaled at GABF 2 years in a row, hadn't medaled, but finaled, that's solid for, a really good, not super niche style where there's a ton of entries. So, that I felt really good about that.
And it sounded like it was initially just made as a tribute beer. It wasn't really meant to be what amounts to now the staple of the brewery. And that's kind of where it all started. So it's interesting how that idea kind of spawned itself into a phenomenon in a way where it wouldn't kind of final at a GABF.
Yeah, and that's Gabe and Ryan.
Yeah.
Gabe, what you guys had nothing to do with anybody else. Like, you guys came up with the pipe dream of being like, let's pay homage to this falling down archaic building.
There it is. There it is.
It looks a lot better now. And the Islanders are tied up now. Buffalo Islanders 2-2 in the third, 6 minutes and a half to go in the third period. So it's getting down to the wire. I'm giving Gabe updates because he's being a good guest and not watching the game as we're on the air. Gabe, what? Yeah, he's got his iPhone in his lap. He's lying. He's got the MSG Sports app on there. He's like, "Are you kidding me?"
Oh man.
Or he's got the Hofstra in the other ear, the Hofstra feed right here in the right ear.
That would be really confusing.
Yeah, he'd be answering Chris Carlin like, yeah, no, it's a good goal, it's a good goal. Maybe Gabe, then you could shed some light. So what little tweaks? I know he said process, but what really had to be done since this first came out or in throughout its evolution? And while you're there, why don't you just tell us how this breaks down, kind of what you're using, what's the grain bill and stuff like that.
You're asking me now the technical side of a beer that we came up with this long ago that's been changed over the years.
Well, what was your first? I mean, give us the generic version of where you came up with it, and then kind of where it evolutionized to where it is today. Evolved
sure.
to where it is today. See, I told
evolved.
you. I use words,
so I'll
just
say
not the right ones.
In spirit, in spirit, we were trying to create a malt forward, not hoppy or bitter session ale. I honestly don't remember. There was, a bunch of crystal malt in there, some base malt. I forget quite honestly what hops we started with because those are not used anymore. And so, Ivan certainly made some, I would say, significant changes over. It had to have been, I don't know, was it a dozen batches? Did you make like little changes over a dozen?
Over a dozen, yeah. It was over a dozen batches.
Wow.
So at the end, it was, I would say a different product from the first. But aside from, I think, some of the ingredient differences, there were some basic things that Ivan did around, some flavors and aromas that, might not have been wanting to have been there and stuff like that. Maybe some diacetyl, maybe not. I don't really know. And
wink,
so, wink. I think, that certainly improved that beer. And, that's stuff that, like needs to happen was there a goal? Is that what's happening right now? And you're not
Islanders on the power play. 3-2 Islanders. 4:50 to go. Yes.
Awesome.
There it is. Pajot.
And then over the last year or so, I think we've dialed back some of the crystal malt, some of the darker crystal malt, just to sort of get there's a little bit of bitterness or harsher bitterness at the end coming from that malt that I think we dialed back a little bit to try and make it finish a little bit easier. But outside of that, like when Ivan left, he had it in a really good place, far more scalable, I would say, process and recipe than what we started with.
And so, what you got today at a 4-5 session, I got stuck actually. That was kind of weird. It's delicious and it's crushable. And I hate that word, but it's the best word to describe the ability to drink many of these before you walk into any Islander or in this case Met game as well. Because the only other Met themed beer that I know of is Greenport Harbor makes that pinstripe, not pinstripe pills. That's Blue
Blue
Point.
Point for the
Blue Point for
It's the pale ale. They make a pale ale, juiced, and that's the only
Is that a
other
reference to steroids or
maybe
I'm guessing yes.
perhaps. But it's the only other like New York sports themed beer that I can really think of. But like I said, besides the Blue Point pinstripe pills, and you were able to capture the logo on there, so it's again visible from the shelf. It's on the box. It's on the branding. It's on everything. So, and it also travels outside of your typical branding that you have for the rest of your line. So that's what's also interesting, because you have a lot of your beers now with the new branding. Having that color scheme, a lot of white space, logo very prominent. But here it's mostly about Barn Rocker and the Islanders. So it just kind of jumped a little bit from, where you were going, but you kept the original OG feeling of the can itself. Again, probably because it's more visible on the shelf and Islander fans just eat it up just for the can itself.
Yeah, give a little in the weeds on the design on that. Part of the requirements around using the IP of the team, one of the things is that the Islander logo must be placed on a solid color.
Okay.
And so we couldn't actually split the logo between the blue and the white.
Gotcha.
So that design has to be that way in order to be as close to our packaging as possible.
Right. No, that makes sense. I mean, I would imagine
how many meetings were there about the label? How many hours of discussion did you have to endure before you found out the label has to be placed specifically on a solid color?
Yeah, we were pretty much almost in production when that, sort of was like, oh yeah, no, that can't happen. Okay, great. We'll go back to the drawing board.
Cancel that order. Quick. Cancel.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. I think a lot of sports teams, if you're going to use their label outside of their own, branding or merchandise, you'd have to probably obey certain regulations. I don't think that's an uncommon thing to go through.
We had a request at work one time we were going to do a bunch of installs for McDonald's, and we got a request that we couldn't fulfill, which was calibrating the TV to a specific shade of yellow for the golden arches.
It had to be the exact color. Yeah.
Which you can't do. You can't calibrate to yellow.
Right. It's impossible. It's RGB. They weren't CMYK TVs. But I do like the fact that you blend, you're using the same orange, the blue, and it all ties in. So you really don't see the separation as much, even though it's on a solid white background. It kind of flows through, which is nice.
Yeah.
I want to get into this hazy because this is one of my favorite beers from you. This is the brand new iteration of hazy IPA. Was this something that's an old school recipe that Ivan would know about, or is this something relatively new?
This is something that Tom came up with at the brewery. As COVID developed, we, as I mentioned, quickly had to sort of come up with, some exciting beers, or I would say, one-offs to keep the brand exciting, because people were always looking for something new, and so we hadn't really done. We hadn't really done a hazy IPA since I think when Ivan, probably one of the last beers Ivan did, we did a collab with Sand City and Barrier and a bunch of breweries on the island that was New England style, and I think we did one more hazy slightly after, but then we hadn't done one since.
No hazies from Barrier and Sand City. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like getting a stout from Barrage.
Yeah, that's
right,
crazy.
exactly.
No pastry stouts from Barrage. They don't do that.
So anyway, we hadn't done one in a while, and I said, let's just do one. Let's just change it up, and so this was something that Tom did.
Cool. Give us the breakdown.
I love it. It is super, super hazy.
Yeah. And
you do get those traditional, what everyone expects from a hazy with the citrus and the tropical notes from it. I really liked it.
Yeah.
See if I can hold it up.
And very different than the next one, I guess we'll talk about with the Alexa.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going right to the 13. We only got 30 minutes left. We got to go right to the sippable.
The Alexa was my favorite.
Yeah. And that's been around for a while, right, Gabe? The Alexa's been around for quite some time.
It has. I'm trying to think. I mean, Ivan, we definitely did it when you were there.
We did it before. Mike actually designed that original recipe, and then it got tweaked through time.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's been, we've been doing it for, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years, maybe something like that.
Oh, I got to show you something.
Yeah. Oh, he's got an old school, like,
pants down. The show's over.
he's going to show
us.
This
refers to the song, not to the device that Jeff Bezos used to spy on us, correct?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. I thought maybe Dan was going to grab his Alexa and he was going to ask about the Alexa beer. Oh,
look at that.
My God.
Old school one. Jesus, hold on. Which?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That label has seen some fucking
corking
some refrigeration
too.
and thawing.
Wow.
So what are you saving that for? Not now.
For a special occasion.
Nice. There you go.
When our tap room finally opens up.
Yes.
Wait, what? You still have that bottle?
That's a downstairs funk.
Yeah.
Is that 20
Number
what
one,
year
I
is that?
think.
Brewed in 2016.
Wow.
Good for you.
There you go.
Simpler times.
Islanders win.
I'm
I'm
gonna
intrigued how that is. Let me know how that is.
I've kept it cold.
Nice.
Good for you.
Out of the fridge.
And you were part of. I mean, well, even Ivan too, and Gabe. You guys were part of. I got a little Earthling here. Hold on. Hello. See you in the morning, buddy.
Good night, Mac.
Good night, buddy. He looks like an Ewok for some reason. I don't know what he's wearing. You're wearing a blanket, I know. But you guys were part of. I believe you were part of the Surge Protector, Hurricane Sandy relief beer. Am I right for saying that? I got to look at the label again. No, I thought you were on that. I thought I had a label that had the Oyster Bay logo on there at one point. An old one, like Dan just brought up. I have my little wine fridge down under here, so it's actually kind of stuck. So I'll look at it later. But I'll see. I might have a vintage bottle of Oyster Bay somewhere as well. I don't think it's downstairs funk though. I think it's something else. It might be a stout.
I cherished this one, and I said I'm going to save this for a really special moment. So.
And what's the style on? Is that a fermented farmhouse kind of thing, or is it
It was a barrel
aged stuff? Yeah.
Okay.
Down
Wild
in the basement.
Downstairs funk.
Yeah. Well, it speaks for itself almost.
It does.
It's got some clear. Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't have much sediment. It didn't look like it when you kind of spun it around a little bit. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ivan, what were some of your favorite beers to brew over at Oyster Bay when you were there?
Honey Ale's actually my favorite beer ever that came out. That beer is awesome.
On Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That beer is phenomenal. The standard IPA is absolutely amazing. It's just a lighter version of a West Coast IPA, and it's really nice.
And Gabe mentioned the pumpkin earlier, and I remember it being one of the first pumpkins I've had. Did you have anything to do with the pumpkin releases back in the day?
I hate pumpkin.
He hates pumpkin beer. He hates pumpkin beer.
I'm with you.
I don't blame you. I don't like them. I don't drink them anymore.
Unpopular opinion, and I'd love to hear it.
Every pumpkin beer I brewed at Barrage was some sort of other style than an ale with fucking spices in it. We did saisons, we did porters, we did freaking lagers. Everything could be a pumpkin. I hate those fucking beers so much.
Yeah.
The last time I had a pumpkin beer, I think it was on the show, and I think the way I described it to Mike is, this is the pumpkin beer I hate the least.
Oh.
There you go.
Did the butternut squash one.
Yeah. See,
That was the Belgian.
Belgian.
That was
I can't
good.
remember the name. That I liked. But the obligatory pumpkin beer, I love fall for beer season, but
Blind Bat does the sweet potato, and I like that one too. That one's good.
Fucking right out of the room.
If you stay away from pumpkin, I think you're golden. And not to say that
you should ask Gabe. You should ask Gabe how many halves of pumpkin beer were sold during Oyster Fest.
Yeah, I could imagine. How many?
So much.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
Because
we brewed, for at least a month before, just trying to, stock up enough kegs for that weekend. Yeah.
Jesus. I remember
Yeah,
you can just walk in and take it to go, right? Because you could just walk the streets with it at that point.
Yeah, I mean, they changed that recently, but
Yeah.
plenty of people still try and
Initially.
take it to go.
Well, initially, I
Yeah.
remember when it first was there. I mean, I remembered. I think I actually did it myself just because it was there, and you guys had it like a table out front where you guys had like a jockey
Yes.
box, and you're doing it right from there. So some of the first ones you guys were involved with, it was very lax, and then of course, as time goes on,
Yeah,
people are like,
yeah,
wait
it
a
got pretty
second, we
tight.
can't be doing this. Can't be
Yeah,
just
I
letting
think
people walk
I think
around.
once somebody put a motorcycle through a window, it was like
Nice.
that was
that's what it
time to
takes.
stop that.
That's
Yeah.
probably a good stopping point.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
That was
good
Billy
ceiling.
Joel.
Well, I don't know who it was, but it was somebody. Yeah.
and he came in on his
Someone's
clipper
going to
ship.
do it.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. So listen, I oh boy. Scott says, hold on, I'm blowing up now. Pumpkin ale is what Cal was to football. It sucks. Cal? Oh no, XFL. XFL. He got it. Yes, it is the XFL of beers.
Yes.
That's a good analogy.
That's a good
I like
analogy.
That.
Yeah, so I mean the concept of having, that being an event that happens and brings a lot of eyes to the brewery and repeat business after that, you got to see the benefit to that. Are any plans in the works? Have you heard anything from the town at this point about plans for this coming October or whatever it is? I think it's late September, early October for the festival itself.
I haven't heard anything specifically around it. I think that decision is going to be made as late as possible.
Yeah.
Just given, how much everyone's going to want every opportunity to keep it. So they're not going to want to pull the plug too early.
Yeah. That was one of the things. Again, my buddy lives up in Oyster Bay, and it was one of the things we could go to his house, park, walk into town, hang out for the day, go back, relax, walk it off a little bit, and then get home. It was a festival that we loved, and my wife loved to buy all the little knickknacks. I like the food and the beer. The kids like the games and the animals and stuff like that. It was something for everybody. So I hope it does come back this year. It was a fun one.
We do too.
Yeah, yeah, obviously. Ivan, so in the last few months, you guys have been really cranking out beers. Obviously, we had it in a show 2 weeks ago. What was the newest brew that popped out? Is that Young Steve?
That is Young Steve at the Oyster Bay Fest.
Wow.
In 1982, I was in the bike race that they did at the time.
That's crazy.
I was like the young Greg LeMond and
very Greg Louganis-ish.
Favor, can you put that outfit on now?
I think. Oh yeah, on my one leg.
Yeah.
God, please.
I was like 148 pounds there, 6 foot.
Wow.
Jesus.
You are a young buck, ready to go.
100 pounds later.
Look at this. With a bionic arm.
With a bionic arm.
Sorry, Ivan. So I was saying, you guys have been cranking out brews. What's in the tanks right now? I know, again, we talked only 2 weeks ago, but I'm sure something has changed over the last 2 weeks. What's ready to come out? What's on the schedule? What's in the tanks?
Coming out, we have a sour with mango and blackberry called Post-Emptive Warning.
Ooh.
We have kind of a traditional a hazy IPA, but it's done a little different way with a bunch of orange peel and stuff. That one constantly comes out because we supply all the mountains around, the ski mountains. They call it Earn
awesome.
Your Turns. We call it Velvet Fog. We have an old one coming back. Old, I mean, we've been open for all of 9 months.
That seems more to like the state of affairs in the beer world than like a beer that's like you brewed 6 months ago. Like that's an old beer.
That old
tired fucking recipe from 6 months ago.
Yeah,
that's great.
I know it's pretty bad.
But it's an IPA.
We just
you
had
said?
a new hazy come out.
Okay.
That's tap room only.
Ooh.
Oh God, would be Pure Infinite Haze. Gabe, actually, Jeff designed that recipe.
Yes.
A little networking going on there.
Jeff also
Jeff,
used to work at
Jeff
Oyster
worked with us also.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so that recipe, was it obviously tweaked just to kind of conform to your brewery hardware and stuff that's going on? Size, you're scaling
No,
it up or down.
Jeff works there. He's
up there with you. That's right. I forgot about that. He's up there with you. Jeez.
Yeah.
Hard to remember even 2 hours ago.
We stole a bunch of city guys.
we absorbed so many people.
Like pandemic happened.
Everybody wanted to go upstate.
Exactly.
So wide open. The numbers are low. It sounds like a win-win for everybody.
It was a win-win for a long time in this county.
Yeah. I got a lot of stuff. And like I said, I was starting to travel upstate, and I want to get up even further, get up into the Syracuse region again this upcoming spring and fall. Ivan, what were some of the breweries that you can hit along the way? Obviously, we're gonna try to hit, one of my favorite areas, the Albany, or we'll say the capital area. You guys are up in the Syracuse area. What other breweries can people go to make this like a nice little destination location for the town, the city area?
I'm going.
If you're coming from Long Island, you can go across Jersey. There's, as usual, not much in Jersey, but you can.
Wow, that's fired.
Well, not in the northern Jersey.
You can then hit like Binghamton. There's a handful of breweries there. You get just north of Binghamton. You get to Beer Tree. And then, like, you kind of can come up 81, hit some stuff in Syracuse, like Modern Ages, Buried Acorn, which basically specifies in sours. If you go kind of west out towards Auburn, you have Prison City, you have Ithaca Brewing. So there's a bunch of stuff to hit.
Yeah,
So
Prison City got some good rep when they partnered up with who'd they do a collab with? I think it was District 96 or one of the other big Equilibrium or something, and they got a little I guess promotion from that, and all of a sudden people were all talking about Prison City beers. But
Prison City got some stuff when they got ranked #1 IPA like 4 years ago by the Draft or Craft or
one of Wow.
Taste Magazine. Taste Magazine blew them up. Yeah,
Okay.
they had the #1. They ranked them as #1 IPA in the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
Wait, didn't like Timber Ales or one of those guys from 12% do a collab with the Prison City? I feel like they did like crows on it.
Possibly.
Somewhere.
Yeah, they're good dudes, and they were a brew pub and just opened up a production facility like 3 months ago. They've been a brew pub for like 8 months.
Covenhoven
8 years.
Covenhoven on Instagram is saying they also did a Mickler New York City collab as well with Prison City.
That makes sense.
Rocks, by the way.
Covenhoven is the shit. Is the balls. So check them out. I feel like I want to get a little more into our stout here, because I had my buddy actually grab me a can of this.
If you don't get to this quicker, because I've been drinking this guy.
All right, I'm getting there.
All
right, I'm letting it warm up. Don't even start.
It was nice to hop in, but I gotta go.
All right.
All right.
Appreciate you coming on.
Good night, guys.
Later, buddy.
Thank you.
So I want to get into this little bad boy.
That slow road. All right, Gabe, give me the lowdown on this thing, because I got it at probably like 45, 50 degrees.
I hit
And
the bed before I crack this.
and
Yeah.
it is tasting really, really fucking good, bro.
Thank you. So Jason Mildred, who's one of our brewers, he works with Tom. This is his recipe. It's our Imperial Stout, and this has been aging for about a year in Four Roses barrels.
Nice.
And what I really like about it is it's not overly boozy from the bourbon. It's like just a little bit, like enough to know it's there, but not where you're thinking that you're drinking a glass of bourbon.
Now,
Um,
and that's immediately when you just said 1 year. I was going to ask, you didn't blend this? I mean, this is just right from the barrels.
No. We did blend it a little bit back
Okay.
with we did. Just to make sure there was enough, above the carb stone and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it came out like we're really proud of it. Nice, smooth, like chocolatey, a little bit of oakiness. It's
Vanilla. I get like vanilla.
It's really
in there.
good.
Yeah. And the vanilla masks that
really
booziness
happy
a
about
little
it.
bit. It kind of smooths it out a little bit. Gives it that
Yeah.
nice smooth
Yeah.
texture to it as it goes. What is the base of this? Where's that coming from? Is it just a standard stout base, American stout? Where's the recipe headed in that direction?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had more details there. I could certainly find out and let you guys know from Jason. I really don't know the technicalities on what he did to brew it. This was his really first recipe that he took Cradle to Grave, and
Okay.
really proud of it. I'm, not to insult anyone, I think it's a relatively basic, his imperial stout recipe, but I think sitting in those barrels over that time really did nice work for it. We've got them both on tap, both non-barrel aged and the barrel aged, and I think it came out really well.
That's really cool.
And thank you for giving us that, because again, I've been sipping this now for probably the last 20 minutes or so, and yeah, you're definitely right. You get a little bit of heat towards the end, but it's not that overbearing heat. But you know that this has been barrel aged for a certain amount of time. Little bit of oak char. And what's really nice about it is, and it's probably coming from the actual recipe itself, that chocolate flavor, a little bit of bitterness, and then again, I'm saying it's probably from the barrel. I get that like vanilla-ish finish. It's cheers, because
really good.
I'm really digging this.
Thank you.
Like I said, my buddy had
Thank
grabbed me a can of this, I guess, when you guys had it still before it sold out. And he gave it to me my last time up at Oyster Bay. And I had it in my fridge, and I'm just kind of like looking at it like, 13% or so. I'm like, that's like a end of the night. Make sure I haven't had 6 beers before I drank that. And I actually highlighted it in one of our stories. And it was one of those things that I went, oh, wow, you nailed this one. This one was, and I like a good imperial stout, and the flavor profile was perfect, sippable as I'm watching the game. It was great. It was one of those things that really turned my head a little bit and went, wow, I had to look at the can, kind of look at, this is really 13%. I mean, you did a really great job at hiding that heat, as I say, the heat that comes through on a lot of these. And I guess it's just, again, cheers to the process and the brewers and the time and the care. I mean, the utter care that it takes to brew something like this.
How much do you have of this left?
I want to say we have at most a couple of half barrels left.
Okay. Anybody that's watching this, you need to go to Oyster Bay as soon as possible to get this beer, because it's going to be gone soon and you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
Because this
You're
shit
gonna miss out on the goodness.
Really good.
It is boozy. Love it.
Yeah. It's nice to, like I said, we did the nice natural progression, went from barn rocker to a little hazy, and now this is a nice sippable to kind of round out the show. You guys have any other barrel program beers in the works? Anything kind of brewing right now, sitting for the next year?
We do. We've got we took our dark lager and we've got that aging in a Madeira barrel. Which should be pretty good. We've got, I'm trying to think, we've got 6 or 8 barrels right now aging. Some bourbon. I think there's a wine barrel in there. As I mentioned, the Madeira barrel. So those will be coming out, I'd say, towards the fall of 21 this year.
Nice. And do you
barrel
guys
aged dark lager and barrel aging in a Madeira bottle? That's different.
Yeah.
Good way.
Yeah.
Now the Madeira bottle, the Madeira barrel, would that add like sweetness? What's the acceptable flavor?
Yeah, that's the hope.
Oh, the oak.
That's the hope there. That it's gonna that's the hope. It's definitely gonna add sweetness.
Okay.
right? But hopefully it does pull still some of the, oaky vanilla out of it as well.
I
I'm
like
not
that
sure
combo.
how it's going to turn out, but hopefully
Give it a
it
shot.
turns out good.
But that's
it is the beauty of it.
great part about it. The whole great part about it is that how's it going to turn out? You don't know what that barrel is going to impart. Some barrels take forever to impart something. Some barrels are you take a sample, you're like, oh my God, this is overpowering already. I got to do something. And that for me, that's the real fun part about barrel aging anything is what are you going to get out of this and what can you make from it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Gabe,
And
go ahead.
by the way, what is the name of this?
There isn't we name all of our beers the beer style. That was just something we always did from day one, except for Barn Rocker. We just put the name of the style right on the can, so you know what you're getting, and good, bad, or indifferent. That's what we did. So that's just the barrel aged imperial stout.
Yeah, at least you don't have to look it up on Untappd to make sure you're not copywriting anybody else's names.
That's right.
Yeah. Is this considered the 2020 or the 2021?
This is the 2020.
Okay.
Oh, all
Yeah.
right. Gabe, give us a little bit of insight on kind of what the future is here, because you got your space, the town is accepting of you. What are the next few stages here for the brewery to take the next leap? I'm going to say obviously after COVID kind of dissipates a little bit, numbers go back down, things are moving forward. What do you have in plans? What do you have in the works ready to go?
So I mean, from a short-term beer style perspective, I'd say in the near term, we're still doing our hard seltzers, and I think that's been pretty good for us for the season for spring and summer.
Yeah, that's a big seller on Long Island is seltzers.
Yeah, that's been going well for you guys.
It has, and
yeah.
We took a lot of time. It probably took us a good 4 to 6 months to figure out the process behind the seltzer. It's very different from a beer in terms of how long it takes to ferment.
Yep.
Making sure there's no off flavors and aromas. It's not the easiest thing, but anyway, it took us a while to figure that out. And so
I was going to ask you what goes into the seltzering process. How different is it from beer? What's the process look like compared to a beer process?
So we do our seltzer just with sugar and water.
Okay.
You can do seltzer with as a malt base as well, but we chose to take the sugar route.
Okay.
And we tried a number of different yeasts, a number of different things to, try and speed up fermentation. It's still instead of a traditional 10 to 14 day process for like a regular beer, it's a solid 3 weeks. It just takes so much longer for the yeast to get going and to really drop. It just takes longer for us to plan. And so what we wind up doing is, you make a batch of it at a higher ABV, and then you blend it down to sort of get it down to the level you want to be at. We send it out for testing to make sure on the calorie level and the sugar level, because when you make a product like that, it's FDA labeled and approved, and all
Correct,
those numbers have to be accurate. So yeah.
You gotta be dead on pretty much, because that's the government agency looking at your shit. Do you have to send stuff out for sampling and stuff like that? They have to test it and everything for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's tough. That's gotta be tight.
Do you guys filter your beer at all or no?
We don't filter it as like putting it through a plate and frame filter. We'll use God, I can't even think of the word now. Findings. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Interesting to see that like a lot of the breweries on Long Island have pivoted towards a seltzer just to, again, can sales are huge right now, especially last summer, and now
grab
probably
that
up
fucking market share.
Fuck
Better fucking Oyster Bay seltzer than fucking Corona seltzer. For Christ's sake. So
yeah.
And craft beer right here on Long Island, right in the brewery. So you're getting it from a reliable source that has a well-established name in the industry, and to have people kind of come in and obviously you're in a North Shore beach community in a way, I guess, like I said, with the waterfront and everything. It's a great, grab and go kind of thing. And obviously distributors around Long Island are going to carry this. So it's easy sell, right? It's just an easy marketable product to kind of put out there.
Yeah, and I think the nice thing is it doesn't, it's not cannibalizing our core market, right? Like those
It's
that are
bringing
still
more people
wanting
in, I would imagine, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if
That's right.
even
That's
at
right.
50% of that, capacity in the tap room, you got the, someone who may want to have those hazy IPAs or those barrel aged stouts, but also maybe they're with someone that doesn't drink beer. You want to be able to serve them something too. So
yeah, it allows us also the opportunity to serve something on the gluten-free side, which on the beer side we can't do. So anyway, yeah.
Are you guys a microbrewery or a farm?
Both.
Oh, you're dual. Okay, cool.
Look at you, smart man.
Yeah.
This guy's got all the little tricks and trades.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
I think at some point, as they relaxed the microbrewery, sort of rules and gave the microbrew, more room, it makes less, I would say for us, less operational sense to carry the farm brewer's license. Just, all the future requirements around sourcing grain and sourcing hops at scale make it really difficult.
And what does it take to maintain that license? Like, do you have to brew a certain amount every year under that license?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's increasing percentages that you need to do,
if you have something
over
like
certain time
Barn
periods.
Rocker, I would imagine that makes it pretty difficult if you need to, those ingredients need to be pretty consistent, and that's a volume beer for you guys. I would imagine that's
It's gotta be tough. Yeah,
it's not easy to do. I mean, the industry locally just isn't there yet to support, that sort of stuff at scale.
On
so
those rules right now, though.
are they? Are they really coming in check? Are they checking your grain bills? Are they doing that? I know most people they were, but in the COVID times, obviously, it's like, all right, well, we don't have time for this shit,
I know right before COVID, I had talked to a few brewers, and they actually had done a real route down through Long Island. And the best part was the very first brewery that they hit was St. James, who pretty much all his grain is all New York State.
Yeah.
So they hit the right one to start with. I don't know if they knew that right. If somebody kind of like said, hey, you might want to go here first. So it looks good.
Jamie's like, bring it, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
I'm using all grain.
Man. Everything is New York State. Come on. And then they went, I know they stopped at Long Island. They stopped at, quite a few places. But then again, that was before COVID. And now I know, I had heard that, 1886 Mold House is basically no longer, I think, from what I'm hearing. And
oh, really?
And that was the point
I've heard from a couple of breweries that, they're not answering calls and you can't get any grain from them right now.
But it wasn't at the point of the whole process in general. It was to get these malt houses to produce more and more to keep their business moving and to spawn off new businesses from that. But yet now there's one major one that's just not keeping up with the times because they can't keep up with the demand and inevitably put them out of business. I mean, that's got to show the government itself that this doesn't work. We can't go up to 80% New York ingredients and keep up with the
I've been
demand.
hearing that they're not going to raise the percentage that much.
What are they up to now? Is it 60?
We're at 60% now.
60% now. Yeah. And it was supposed to go up again.
We do more than 60%. We exceed that, every one of our beers is all New York based malt, all from New York craft malt. And they're expanding. I mean, they're a small maltster that's getting bigger and they're expanding and putting new equipment in and their capacity is growing.
Well, they probably took a lot of the market share from 1886. I mean, they probably absorbed a lot of the clients from 1886.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're constantly growing, getting new, I guess, fieldage, if that's a word, new equipment.
I didn't even
acreage. There you go. See, I'm not that bad. Fieldage sounds good. Sounds smart.
What the hell?
Fieldage.
Lots of fields.
You're just fucking making up words now.
He is.
Evolutionized.
You get a bourbon barrel aged stout and you just start making shit up.
I drink, therefore I know things. And we know who said that.
Yes.
But I mean, it's got to be tough. Do you guys, Gabe at Oyster Bay, do you have specific brews that you use that farm license for? Do you have like a very set amount of, okay, we're going to do the hazy under that, we're going to do this under that, and we're going to do that under that?
Yep, the ones that are not needing to be scaled up and widely distributed are ones that we can put those ingredients in. The biggest challenge is if you try and obtain whatever it is, 2,000, 4,000, 8,000 pounds of malt, whether or not you're going to be able to get that next time, or whether or not said batch of malt is going to maintain the same flavor profile as the one before. So that's why, consideration there is to possibly drop that license if they actually are going to continue increasing that stuff, because it just doesn't make sense for our business model.
Right. Exactly. Dan, you said you don't think they're going to,
not to mention, the cost side of it as well.
Oh, of course. I mean, you don't have the ability for supply and demand at that point. So they got to drop the prices. They got to have, enough on hand to supply all the breweries in New York State for their farm brewers license. Dan, what I was saying is, did you hear about in New York State, basically freezing the percentages?
I've just been hearing like rumor, hey, I don't think they're going to be increasing that. Like everyone's saying, that it's impossible to keep up with the demand that's there because they're not putting out enough stuff. Even like New York grown hops, it's like there are some very good ones, and there are also some that are just like, exactly. Like, what would I use this for? I have no idea.
I'll just throw it in a stout. It'll just blend in and it'll be fine. As long as I'm using it, it counts towards the percentage.
It has a very low IBU and not much of a hop profile. And you say, all right, I have to meet my quota. I'm going to use that hop.
Lots of session ales, lots of sessions. As long as it's in there and it meets the percentages, you got it covered.
Honestly, that's been the hardest part for us.
I would imagine. It's got to be tough with the hops. So, I mean, and that brings me to what I was about to say. It's a matter of weight, right? It's a matter of percentage of ingredients. So a larger percentage is the malt. So the malt areas are what's really going to benefit from that farm brewer's license, right?
Definitely.
For us, yes.
Yeah, because you can get sexy hops, but use 90% of the grain of New York, and now you got yourself the percentages that you're looking to hit.
Yeah,
right.
Gabe, we're wrapping up here. I want to really get everybody the big plugs. Tell us any information that's coming up. I did see a recent post about the I don't think it was Chamber of Commerce, but there's something coming up in your area, and it's Shop With Us, and we'll share the bill from February 22nd to February 28th. You make any purchase from one of our members at the Oyster Bay East Norwich Chamber of Commerce, and they will reimburse you 50% of your bill. Have you heard about this coming out here?
Oh yeah. It's a big initiative. The fact that you can go in, spend some money, and be reimbursed for half your bill is great. I mean, we're going to push it as much as we can.
Fuck yeah. I mean, if I go in and I spend $60 at Oyster Bay, and I then send my receipt and my PayPal or Venmo account name, the Chamber of Commerce will reimburse me for 50% of that bill. So listen, motherfuckers.
Buy double the beer.
Yeah.
That's right.
Go and buy as much goddamn of this beer you can possibly get, because you're going to get 50% of that back. And it's not from the brewery. The brewery's going to get the total amount. The Chamber of Commerce of the town is what's going to reimburse you. So it is a major deal that's going on February 22nd, 28th. I'll put it out there. Go to any of their, sponsored based membership businesses in the town, whether it be Oyster Bay or East Norwich, and spend your money up there, and you're going to get 50% back. Go ahead and find the post. I believe it's on the Chamber of Commerce on Oyster Bay, but it's a big deal, and it's a big initiative, like you said, that they're going through with, and that's big for the town. I mean, people are going to, I would imagine, come in droves for a lot of the businesses in those two towns.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly something we need in, I would say, probably the quietest time of the winter, right? The January, February months are really tough. So getting people in and having their bill reimbursed by half it's amazing. It's
Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, that's unheard of here on Long Island. And that is an amazing amount of cash that could be back in your pocket. They'll reimburse you up to $30, just so you know. So if you spend 60, you'll get 30 back. After that, it's all on you. But there is, an obvious movement here to get people to go up and spend money on the businesses in these towns. And again, we heard about Canterbury Ales closing. These businesses are not at full capacity. They're not doing crazy business. They're basically treading water, and we need to support them because when this is all over, like Steve said earlier, we want them to be there because we want to get the fuck out of our house and go enjoy places here on Long Island. And I hope other towns take initiative from this. I really do. I hope a lot of townships start looking at this and going, wow, this brings a lot of, clientele into the town, into the village, into whatever it is. And it allows people to kind of freely spend, even in these tough times for people, to kind of get a little bit back on top of that. It's amazing. To me, that was like a game changer. I sent it to my buddy that lives up Oyster Bay. He's like, holy shit, get the fuck out of here. I'm buying shit every week.
That's awesome.
He'll just take pictures of receipts every fucking night. It's great. Actually, it says only run one receipt per person. But, if you're a married couple, you get 2 receipts.
Hey, man, we all got kids. You put those kids on those receipts, too. Hey, Gabe, you're fucking solid because you got 4 of those kids. So
That's right. That's right.
I actually gave you more credit. I thought you had 5 kids, but 4 is enough. I'll tell you that 4 is enough.
If he didn't have that girl, he would have had a 5th one.
Yeah. Yes. True.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
That's crazy. Dan, before we get out of here, give us a big plug for Long Beach Brewing Company.
Honestly, I'm not going to plug myself. I'm just going to say thank you to Gabe. And
look at that.
Come on, man.
Absolutely. Plug your ass.
Thank you for helping us out from day one. And
humble upon humble.
And all that.
You can find Oyster Bay and Long Beach Brewing Company's beers at Some Guys Beer and Soda.
Yes, you can.
Sunrise Highway in Lindenhurst.
Here's a new one. Go out and get this one.
Oh,
there you go.
All right.
Boom.
I was funny earlier on. I was gonna ask you, but we were busy talking. How do you feel about it, bro?
What's that?
How do you feel? How that came out for you?
Woo! I'm loving this.
Good.
I honest to God, I've never used Zappa hop before,
and that was the thing because I've only had it one other time, but it was with several other hops.
Nope.
So
straight Zappa,
single hop,
strawberries, melons.
I'm very interested to try that beer, man.
You're gonna have to get it.
Really drinkable, really sweet.
So
that's on the shelves right now. We can go get that at our local Home D's, Dan.
Or at his brewery, we can pick it up.
There you go.
Come down to the brewery and get it this weekend.
There you go.
Stand it up. It's nice and fresh.
Okay, and how many cases you got left of that? Oh yeah, enough for us.
Enough for you guys to come in and try.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we did Ocean Size too, and it came out really great.
Oh, nice. I love Ocean Size too.
The new runs that I did with you guys.
That's a good one. Gabe, let's do the big plug for Oyster Bay. Tell us all about the brewery, where people can find it, how people get in contact, how people can order, all that good stuff.
Oh man, follow us on social media, on Instagram at Oyster Bay Brewing, Facebook, Twitter, on our website, www.oysterbaybrewing.com. Come stop by the brewery, order online, we'll deliver to your house. Support your local beer distributors, grocery stores. Anywhere where you can find it is supporting us. If you don't come down to the brewery, buy it from your local beverage store. It'll help us regardless.
And if you're going to the brewery, just take Waze, type in Oyster Bay Brewery, and you'll go right to the front door. It's not going to be hard to find. It's the only brewery in town, and it's an awesome town. So travel up there and check it out. Dan, thank you very much for being on the show and surprising Gabe with a little guest appearance. We want to also thank Ivan from Myers Creek for stopping in and saying what's up. I knew he didn't have much time, but he's a lot of fun, man. I can't wait to get upstate and hang out with him for a little bit. And of course, Gabe, man, thanks for all your hospitality this past weekend, and thanks for being on the show. Really cool. This show and the video and the audio will be out in podcast form on YouTube, and of course over on our Instagram. I think we were able to actually keep almost the whole show on Instagram this time.
Awesome.
And of course, if you go over to any of your favorite podcast platforms, you can check us out tomorrow. It should post tomorrow. Spotify, iTunes, podcast, Apple Podcasts, whatever you want to go to. It'll be out on a million other places. And of course, our favorite friends, the Hopped Up Network, which we will be broadcasting live down in AC Beer Fest June 4th and 5th at the airport, which is going to be crazy. We're going to have a lot of fun with them and a lot of the Jersey breweries that we've become friends with. Not Northern Jersey, because Ivan said there's no breweries in Northern Jersey, which I think he's right. He's actually very right. There's not like northern border to New York. There's really nothing. But once you get over the bridge in like Perth, Amboy, and all that, you can find some really great breweries and everything south from there. Go ahead. Dan, anything else to share to the show? Anything else?
Feeling good.
Appreciate you. Gabe, anything else you'd like to share?
What was that?
For me?
Yeah, Gabe.
No, just thanks for having me, guys. Dan, can't wait for you guys to open. We'll be there on that day.
Fuck yeah.
Screaming for you. And like I said, guys, thanks for hospitality. Really appreciate you inviting me to join you tonight.
Dude, awesome time. I appreciate it. Last words, Peter. What do you got?
Don't forget to have your pet spayed or neutered.
Steven?
I like to do the cha-cha.
This is The Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GubsRadio.com. Really appreciate everyone for hanging with us. And we out.
Well, that's 2 hours of your life that you'll never get back.
Are you kidding me?
Please hang up and try again.
This has been The Wort on Gubs Radio. I hope you're drunk enough.